Listen, I know it's late, but I need to tell someone, anyone. I haven't slept in 3 days, and I don't think I can stay in that house another night. You're the only one I trust with this. Just hear me out, okay? My father never allowed me to own a phone. Not after what happened to my brother Elias. Dad was convinced that some online predator had lured him away. That was the story he clung to, repeated to the police, to neighbors, to himself in the hollow hours of night when he thought I couldn't hear him sobbing through the paper-thin walls of our decaying Victorian and Raven home. Ellis, he'd say, his voice ragged from cheap whiskey and regret, I won't lose you too. Not like we lost him. I tried explaining that I wasn't like Elias, reckless, rebellious. I just wanted to text friends, watch stupid videos during the hour-long bus ride through dense pine forests to Westridge Academy. But those conversations always ended with Dad's eyes becoming distant, haunted, as if seeing something terrible just beyond my shoulder. After Elias disappeared, my existence shrank to the confines of my bedroom, our bedroom. The twin bed across from mine remained untouched for months, sheets still rumpled from where he'd last slept. Dad refused to change anything, as if altering a single item would confirm Elias was never coming back. I'd wait until the scrape of Dad's fork against his plate stopped before venturing downstairs for dinner, shoveling cold food into my mouth while standing at the counter. If I chewed too loudly, his bloodshot eyes would fix on me with that unnerving stare. What's the matter? My cooking not good enough for you, Ellis? Before, Elias had been my shield. When Dad's rage boiled over, which happened with increasing frequency after Mom left us for that dentist in Seattle, Elias would draw his fire. Like the time I accidentally knocked over Dad's collection of antique fishing lures in the garage. The colored glass shattered across the concrete, and Dad's face twisted into something inhuman. Elias stepped between us, taking the brunt of Dad's fury. Later, when his swollen cheekbone turned the color of a rotting plum, he told everyone at school he'd fallen from his mountain bike. I never got to thank him for that. For any of it. Working at Dalton's general store bagging groceries, I managed to save $300. My friend Morgan sold me her old iPhone for cheap. I added social apps, installed VPNs, and created anonymous accounts, including this one. There was a whole world beyond Ravenholm's suffocating boundaries, and for the first time in months, I could taste freedom. But freedom comes with unbearable risk in my father's house. So I pried up the loose floorboard in the corner of my bedroom, beneath the faded Star Wars poster that Elias and I had hung together. The space beneath was shallow but adequate for hiding my secret lifeline. One night, scrolling through news on my phone under covers with the brightness turned so low it strained my eyes, I made the mistake of searching Elias's name. The most recent article appeared on a true crime blog. Father of missing Ravenholm teen named person of interest. The article featured a grainy photo of Dad leaving the sheriff's office, his face a mask of tight control that I recognized all too well. The mask he wore when containing something volatile within. The heavy tread of Dad's work boots ascending the stairs sent ice through my veins. I slid the phone back into its hiding place and yanked the covers to my chin, forcing my breathing to steady. Dad appeared in my doorway, silhouetted against the hallway light. I could smell the whiskey from across the room, sweet and rancid. His massive frame seemed to fill the entire doorway, blocking any escape. "Night, Ellis," he slurred, one hand gripping the doorframe too tightly, knuckles white. "Good night, Dad," I whispered, but then courage, or perhaps foolishness, pushed words through my lips. Have they found anything new about Elias?" The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Dad's expression hardened, skin pulling tight across the sharp angles of his face. "We don't talk about him," he growled. "That's the rule. It's not your concern. Never has been." He left the door cracked open, a sliver of hallway light cutting across my floor like a knife wound. I knew better than to close it. Dad needed to hear everything in the house at night, he'd explained once. Needed to make sure I was safe. I turned toward the wall, pulling the blanket over my ears, trying to drown out the creaking of the old house settling around me. Sleep came reluctantly, my consciousness drifting along the edges of darkness when I first heard it. Scritch, scritch, scritch. The sound was faint, like fingernails dragging across fabric or dirt. It seemed to emanate directly from beneath the floorboard where my phone was hidden. I froze, wondering if I'd left an app running, draining precious battery. Scritch, scritch, scritch. The scratching stopped abruptly, as if whatever was making the noise had sensed my attention. A cold drop of sweat traced down my spine as I stared at the floor. Had Dad found my phone? Installed some tracking app? Was this his way of tormenting me before confrontation? I slipped from bed, my bare feet meeting the icy wooden floor. Glancing at the cracked door, I crouched beside the loose board and pressed my ear against it. Scritch, scritch, scritch. This time, I recognized the sound with horrifying clarity, nails clawing through packed earth. Like someone, tunneling upward from beneath the house. My throat closed as my mind rejected the impossible image forming in my thoughts. I scrambled back into bed, pulling the covers over my head as if thin cotton could protect me from the nameless dread burrowing its way toward me. The next morning, with sunlight streaming through dusty curtains, I convinced myself it had been a nightmare. Still, I asked Dad about the noise over breakfast. Probably just rats, he answered without hesitation, not looking up from his newspaper. Old houses like this, they get into everything. Probably got itself trapped under the floor. His calm explanation should have reassured me. Instead, it felt rehearsed, as if he'd anticipated the question. Night after night, the scratching continued, growing louder, more desperate. After 2 weeks, I knew with sickening certainty, no rat could survive that long trapped in a floor cavity. And no rat made the sounds I began to hear in the quietest hours of night, a weak, whistling breath that reminded me of Elias's asthma attacks. On the 17th night, I lay rigid in bed, counting the hours by the luminous dial of my alarm clock. At 3:17 a.m., the scratching began, but different this time. No longer muffled by earth, this was the unmistakable sound of fingernails against wood. The loose floorboard shifted, rising slightly before settling back into place. My heart nearly burst from my chest as I watched it wobble again, as if something beneath was testing its give. Panic propelled me from bed. I grabbed my calculus textbook, my biology reference guide, and my history anthology, heavy tomes that I stacked onto the rebellious board. The movement ceased, but from beneath came a soft, plaintive sound that might have been my name. I didn't sleep. How could I? Dawn's gray light eventually seeped through my window, and with it came a strange resignation. I had to know. With trembling hands, I removed the textbooks and lifted the floorboard. My phone was gone, swallowed by what had replaced it, a narrow tunnel just wide enough for a human arm, descending into absolute darkness. The soil around its edges was loose, freshly disturbed. The smell that rose from that hole, damp earth mixed with something putrid and sweet, made me gag. I leaned forward, despite every instinct screaming at me to run, and listened. Breathing. Shallow, labored breathing, like lungs struggling against the weight of soil pressing down upon them. At school that day, I moved through hallways like a ghost. During lunch, I borrowed Morgan's phone and called my number, not sure what I expected. You seriously think whatever's in that hole knows how to answer a phone? Morgan laughed nervously, watching my face. The phone rang 7 times, then a click as something, answered. Hello? I whispered, my voice barely audible over the cafeteria's din. Static crackled, then a voice I would recognize anywhere in the world, now distorted and distant, as if speaking through a mouthful of earth. Ellis. Elias's voice wheezed. Don't trust him. The line went dead. That night, I packed a small bag and waited until Dad's snores rattled from his bedroom. I couldn't stay another night. But as I crept down the stairs, my foot caught the loose step, the one that always betrayed Elias when he sneaked out, and a deafening creak split the silence. Dad's snoring stopped abruptly. Going somewhere, Ellis? His voice drifted from the darkness above. I froze, one hand on the front door knob. I heard Elias, I confessed, my voice breaking. Under the floor. He's down there, Dad. You put him there. A heavy silence filled the house, broken only by the deliberate creak of Dad's footsteps descending the stairs. You were always the quiet one, he said softly, emerging from the shadows. The observer. Elias was reckless, impulsive. But you notice things, don't you, Ellis? In his right hand was a shovel, dark stains visible even in the dim light. In his left, my phone, screen illuminating his haggard face from below with ghostly blue light. Elias couldn't keep his mouth shut about what he saw in the root cellar. Dad continued, taking another step toward me. About what's still down there. I thought at least I could count on you to follow the rules. The front door felt miles away now. The rule, I whispered. We don't talk about him. Dad nodded, a terrible sadness in his eyes. That's right. And now we need to have a conversation about your future in this family. From beneath the floorboards above, a faint scratching began again, more urgent now, as if trying to warn me. But it was the second sound that turned my blood to ice, another scratching, rising from beneath the kitchen floor behind Dad. And another from the living room to my right. Scritch, scritch, scritch. They were everywhere now, the sounds of digging. From all directions. All beneath us. All coming up. Dad smiled grimly as he raised the shovel. They always come back, Ellis. That's the real family curse. They always find their way home. That's when I realized with horrifying clarity, Elias wasn't the first. And if I didn't escape, I wouldn't be the last. I've been hiding at this bus station for 2 days now. I don't know where to go. I keep calling my old number, hoping to hear Elias again, but there's only static now. Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I swear I can feel the vibration of digging beneath my feet. Tell me you believe me. Please. Someone has to believe me before it's too late.
Have you had a similar experience? Feel free to share in the comments below. This story is purely fictional. Any resemblance to real events is purely coincidental. If you enjoyed this story, please like and leave a comment. Your support means the world to me.